This week's Michigan Lottery Excellence in Education winner is Nicole Paul from Scottville Elementary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have a letter from your nominator. I want to read a portion of it. Mrs. Paul is the most loving special needs teacher. She never gives up on her kids or labels them. She listens to parents, she listens to doctors, and she listens to her children. She spends hours at night trying to figure out how to help the children. Recently, at a parent-teacher conference, she offered my son to go relax in her room while we had the conference in a different room. He was so relaxed he fell asleep in her chair. This child hardly ever sleeps, so that means he is 100% secure with her. He doesn't recall the foster care system or adoption, but he has separation issues, and she's amazing. So what went through your mind?
I was trying to piece, who this was from, and as soon as you said some of those things, I knew exactly who it was. So it was just, I was recalling that moment with him.
I understand, and you really talk to the kids and really try to get to know them a little bit. Tell me about that.
Well, I think that it's important to build a relationship with them and their families, but with the children, because they're not going to learn from you if they're not comfortable.
Yeah.
And building that relationship is one of the most meaningful parts for me, and it is for them as well. So.
Did you always want to be a teacher?
I did. Yeah, I did. I used to make my parents play school. My mom and dad actually had a little old school desk for me, and they would sit in there and do homework. And I was their teacher at a young age. And then I would help my cousin on the bus do his homework, and my aunt loved it because then she didn't have to do it when he came home. So.
You talk about listening to students, but you also make sure that they feel safe and secure. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, they're at school almost all day, and they need to have a safe spot, a safe place, a safe person. Everybody needs a person. And, I like being that person for them, just knowing that there's somebody that cares, somebody they can go to if they need help. We do a survey, a screening for social emotional learning in our classroom, or in all of our classrooms. But some of the questions are there adults that you feel safe with at school? And do you feel like you can ask for help if needed? And we've been watching that for years with our MTSS team, and just seeing that our kids are feeling that and they do feel comfortable. And I have so many kids that they don't want the weekend or holiday breaks because they want to be at school. And so giving them that safe place and making school fun is going to pull more for their education and help them learn if they're safe and comfortable. And
talking about fun, you actually play some games with the kids that are learning games.
Yes.
Tell me some of those and why that helps.
Well, if you're engaged in having fun, you're more apt to pull from it, and you don't realize that you're learning. So when you're reading these words or doing these math facts and having fun doing it, you're actually learning and building these skills rather than just drill and practice on worksheets and stuff like that. So we always have our work first, and then we play a game. And I actually have a lot of kids who want to come to my class, and they beg me to ask the principal if they can come too, because they want to play games. They think that's all we do. So I'm kind of like a fun room.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
You said you wanted to be a teacher your entire life. Where did that stem from, do you think?
I don't know. Honestly, both of my parents wanted to be teachers, and they both ended up taking different career paths. I had a kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Nason, who, I remember so many things from her class. It was fun and engaging. I remember, playing in certain areas, and we did the letter people at the time. So making different foods, she just made learning fun. And, I think maybe somewhere from those elementary years, I had some great teachers, some great role models for that all throughout elementary and middle school.
I was asked this question, hypothetically speaking, 10 years from now, you run into a former student. What do you hope that student says to you about their experience in your classroom?
It's kind of fun because I'm watching my former students graduate, and I've actually had I've had 4, but this last year I had 2 of them come back, and they wanted to, they're going into education, but they wanted to be student teachers in my classroom. So I actually had both of them, and I was their first grade teacher. but they're both going into the special education field. And so I like hearing that, you know, I was part of their experience, part of, you know, just their want and their need and help, you know, shaping how they grow and develop in their career choices. And they're just, I like knowing that they're doing well and, you know.
And tell me what that's like for you just personally when you see that a student gets a concept for the first time.
Oh, I love it. I've had kids where, you know, you're reading and they, you know, you choral read where you read it and then they read it after and they're like, I'm reading, I'm so excited. And I think that's, you know, that's the best when they feel successful, because, you know, when they're feeling successful, then they're going to take it that next step further.
And what would you tell a teacher to be? What kind of advice would you tell them?
It's not easy, but it's worth it. It is so worth it. You know, everybody has those days where, you know, it's sometimes hard to get out of bed and go to work, but I have never once thought, I just don't want to do this anymore. I love my job and I love working with the students. I love working with the families, and I honestly don't know what else I would ever do.
Well, thank you for doing what you do and making a difference. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nicole from Scottville Elementary School receives a $2,000 check from Jake Harris with the Michigan Lottery. Excellence in Education Awards, sponsored by the Michigan Lottery, providing more than $29 billion to public education since 1972.